I'll wait a few more minutes for more folks to join. But if you missed last week, I do have a fresh architectural model on Blackboard in the content folder. Content models. I don't know why I have a subfolder for the folder, but drill into there and you can download the architectural model if you need it. I think most of you do not need it, but I put it there anyway just for your use. Wait a few more
Professor.
minutes. Go ahead. What's that?
So I think you probably made this clear at one point, but I just wanted to clarify, are these models that we're working on in class,
Hmm.
do they count for a portion of our grade?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So it's just the our personal design projects that are we're graded on.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
I think the only time I had people hide in progress models was when I was unaware there was a health day and two people showed up. I'm like, what the heck, man? I think that was the only time that I had people actually upload a model. Yes. So I don't even think I did then, now that I think about it. But no, that's a good question. I just want to go through the tools together and then you apply it to your own model.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Good question. I'll wait another minute. Let whoever is going to log in, and then we'll get rolling. All right, I guess we can get started unless anyone needs another minute. Uh, we're going to jump into the model we've been using, the one we were working on last week. And tonight I would like to I'd like to make some more sheets and call outs just to make sure that we're all clear on that. Because you know, most of your, well, like I said, that's what I'm really going to look at with your models. Of course, I look at your models and man, there's a lot of really good models. You guys did very well this semester. But like I said, I like to see sheets, call out sections. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that part of it. And then I want to get into a little more interiors. I want to do ceilings and soffits, you know, tray ceilings, and I want to look at areas and rooms and seeing how we can create color fill plans and making actual schedules for rooms so we can calculate square footages and those kinds of things. Um, I'm never sure if I should have that in the advanced class or in the beginning class, but I think these are good tools to learn in the beginning class, and we're doing pretty well, so I'm glad we're able to get to this kind of stuff. And speaking of the advanced class, um, I appreciate those of you who responded. So basically the problem was I had such a long wait list for this class for the fall semester. They eliminated the advanced and had two beginning up there, but there was there was enough interest in the beginning to where, or in the advanced class, to where we have it there. And then, you know, looking at Blackboard now, I see 3 classes, but they have added it. So if you do want to take it, you might want to get in there sooner than later so they don't close it. Um, so I think you like it. It's a good class. Obviously, we pick up from what we've learned here, and we get into more advanced stuff. A lot of families, a lot of massing, free-form massing, and certainly what BIM actually is. We dive more into BIM protocols and wide area work sharing and those types of things. So I won't try to sell it. It's up to you if you want to take it. I think it'll be good for you to have when you go into a design firm, having the advanced portion of it as well. So I won't talk any more about it. So everyone together, I'm not sure what view we're in. I opened my model up and I'm in section 1 here. Let's do this. I want to create a call out of our stairs, and I want to dimension that call out, right? And I want to create a sheet, and I want to put all these views onto a sheet. Now, again, some of your models I've seen are very, very nice. And I'm not saying big and nice. Even the smaller ones I think are perfect. But most of us have to get the sheets and the sections and the callouts on there. And let's just kind of reiterate that now, just to make sure we're good on what I expect. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is under floor plans, let's go up to level 2. So in the project browser under floor plans, let's go to level 2. Double click on that puppy. Is there a question? When will the advanced BIM class be? That's a great question. Here, let me look. I got it over here on this computer. Okay, I'm looking at all of you now. Let me change class, change term. So there's one in the summer semester too, which is online async, just so you know. But in the fall, when we meet in person, it will be, advanced BIM will be Wednesdays, 5:15 to 8. So it's on Wednesday nights. So good question.
Oh, my question was when will it become available? Because I'm looking at the class enrollment and it's not there, and neither is original, the like beginner's BIM.
What
It's like not on the course list. Like you can't like select it and add it to your cart.
Let's see here.
So
yeah, wow, looking at it, it's like 0. I'm like, oh man. Let me talk to Karen because we were back and forth today. Because I see it on mine. So I see 2 intro to BIMs and 1 advanced BIM. So the intro to BIMs is full. There's 1 intro to BIM with 1 enrolled, and then there's the advanced with 0 enrolled. I'm guessing probably it'll be open for enrollment tomorrow, if it's not right now.
okay, great, thank you. It's probably just updating or something like the system. Because yeah, it's like I don't see anything. But thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh no, they fired me. I knew this day would come.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. No, I'm sure it'll be up tomorrow. So thanks. Okay. So you're welcome. Thanks for the question. So okay, so in plan view, I want to zoom in on our stairs here and think about it, right? If you're the contractor who is building these stairs, I mean, do you have the information you need right here? No. Or the person doing the railings. It's like, I kind of see what they want. Maybe I'll just build it approximately the way they want it, right? That doesn't fly. So let's create a call out of this area, okay? So to do that, we're going to go to the View tab. Okay? On the View tab, we'll go to call out right here. Call out. Now I'm going to pick basically a box around my stairs, and I want to get some of these funky railings in there too. So I want to pick a point right here. We're going to move our cursor down to about here and pick a point like right here, knowing that this bubble is just completely in the wrong spot. It's not in a good position here. So that's okay. We'll fix it. Okay, hit escape a couple times. Now with our callout in there, we made another view. So you see in the project browser, level 2 callout 1. And I wish we had created a name for this. We didn't. That was my fault. So level 2 callout 1, we can open that up. But first thing I want to do is I want to select the bubble or the window that's around our stairs. Don't double click it, just select it. And notice that it's going to highlight all these grips, right? So I want to select this grip in particular right here, and that's going to just drag that whole thing over. I'm going to put it right about here. So, right? You want your drawings to be legible. Even this is too much. I don't know. I would probably dimension this differently, but that's okay. Now, with this dragged over to the side here, if we just hit escape a couple times, and let's double click on this bubble right here, it's going to open up that call out. Okay. For some reason, I have 2 sections here. I think the other night I had to put 2 in there. But what's going to happen is if you have a section that looks like this and a section that looks like this section is going to print, right? This annotation is going to print. This one won't. Revit's smart enough to know that if you have an annotation that's not on a sheet somewhere, it's not going to print it. Although it looks sloppy here, I wouldn't worry about that section right there, okay? Now, what I want to do is notice that in the view toolbar down here, notice that it's a 1/4 inch equals a foot. I want to increase that. So let's click where it says a 1/4 inch equals a foot. And let's make it a 1/2 inch equals a foot. Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect. Now notice that we can get in here and we can start dimensioning stuff. We can annotate stuff, right? So the first couple dimensions I'd want to put in, if we zoom into this area, I want to dimension the inside of our stairs, right? So if we go to the annotate tab, and if we click aligned for aligned dimensions, and click that, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom into here and we're going to dimension out the inside face of this stringer. Remember we discussed that this is a stringer? So we're going to pick the inside face of that stringer right there. We're going to zoom out and pan down and go to the inside face of this stringer and pick that. And if you remember, we set that at 4 feet. So now we're going to pick a point right about here. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to dimension one of these treads. Okay, so maybe go from this one here. So I'm going to pick this line here, this line here. We're going to move our cursor up and we're going to pick a point like right about here. Then we'll hit escape a couple times. Now, instead of dimensioning every one of these treads, what we want to do is we want to select this 11-inch dimension. Okay, then we want to select on the 11 inches right here, like we're going to edit the text. And that is going to bring up this dialog here, right? Now, we don't want to replace it with text, but we do want to add a suffix. We're going to type in a comma, space, all caps, PYP, period. So that's just saying, hey, this is typical. These are 11-inch deep treads, right? So click OK. Hit escape a couple times. And I'm not going to torture you with everything, but if you think about it, you think about all the dimensions you would need. Or if I was like, hey, can you come and build me a railing and some stairs? And this is all I gave you. Be like, oh yeah, do you mind giving me a little more to go by here? The more you add to your drawings, the more cleaner you make your drawings, the better you're going to look, right, at your firm. If your sheets are the best looking sheets out of the set, and also, trust me, you're going to get less calls back from the field when they're finally building your stuff. Another good dimension is definitely, we were pretty careful about setting off of that column line. So let's click the align button here. and we're going to pick the center line of this this column here. We're going to pick the face here. If you remember, we set that at 6 inches. So we're going to move that over to here. That's an important dimension, right?
Can you repeat that one, please?
You betcha. You betcha. So what I did was, because you remember, I was like, I think we need to offset this up to column line minus 6 inches. We need to tell them that was the decision we made to lay this out. So we're just going to add a simple dimension from here to here. So on the annotate tab, we'll click aligned. Right now, we'll go from our column line from here to the inside face of our stair here, or the outside face of our stringer, I should say. And now we have a 6-inch dimension. Now, if I move my dimension over here, I'm going to pick a point there. I'm going to hit escape a couple times. Right? Now, think about what we just did, though. We just dimensioned out something that's not even in our model. Right? So we're really coordinating. So if something moves, it's you need to communicate with your teammates. Good one would be the overall stair. So let's go to aligned dimension. I'm going to go from the outside of my stringer all the way down to the outside of my stringer. And we'll pick a point over here. Not a huge fan of that, but hey, it is what it is, man. 18 foot 2 1/8 inches. I trust it. I trust it. Okay. Now on the annotate tab, let's click the radial dimension, because certainly we should tell them what that radius is. So click radial. Now what we'll do, which one is it? I think it's the inside one here. I think it's this one. So zoom in, and yeah, let's go with this one. I'm looking for a 20-foot dimension, right? So we're going to click this one here. Come on, 20, come on, 20. There we go, baby. Got it. 20 feet. Gonna pick a point right there. Hit escape a couple times. You guys get you get the gist of what we're doing, correct? Does anyone not really understand why we would do this? Now, for your projects, this level is fine. A few dimensions, but I want to see that call out. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's a little out of the way, but like,
No.
how useful is that dimension? Because it's like if someone is trying to sort of construct this radial thing, knowing it's a radius of 20, how does that like help someone?
Because what they're going to do is they're going to do one of two things with these landings. They're either going to build them on site or they're going to build them in a shop. So literally what they do is they will snap lines on the concrete floor, and they will draw a radius of 20 feet on the floor and actually bend that. Or what they're going to do is they're going to put it into a CNC machine or a bending machine, and they're going to fabricate that in a shop, and they're gonna output this to that machine, and it's gonna be at that 20-foot radius. Yep.
No, that
So
first part is interesting though. I didn't know that.
Oh, no, absolutely. So I used to when I got out of construction, I started working for an architectural millworking company here in Syracuse. And it was a great gig. We did a lot of high-end stuff. We did a lot of stuff down in the city, did Radio City Music Hall. We did a bunch of really cool projects where I was the CAD guy, and when we were short, I was the installer too. And that's exactly what we would do. Like if this was a wood staircase, right, we would have probably built this on site, and we would have done that. We would have had an area where we had to lay this out, and we would actually snap lines on the floor and draw that and actually make it to be those dimensions. Sometimes we'd rather do it on site because of the fact that it's an unsettling feeling when you have a truck loaded with all these prefabricated parts and you get there and the actual dimensions aren't exactly what they were back in Syracuse. You know, sometimes it's a better feeling just fabricating it on site, but that kind of dimensions is important. So it's a good
Yeah,
question.
thank you. Yeah, no, I assumed it was important, but I was just wondering like how does it get like applied? Because right, like a typical 4 feet dimension, you could just whip out your tape measure and you'd know that. But
Right, right. Yeah. How do you
yeah,
know where the center point is of that 20-foot dimension
but,
too? Right.
yeah,
Yep. So that's a good, definitely good questions.
but yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think that's about good for this, but I want to make a couple more. So let's go back to our section 1. I'm not a big fan of that. Do we all have a section 1 though? Now that I think about it. Now let's not go to section 1. Let's do this. Does everyone have this 2A101 section? Does anyone not have it?
I have the line, but it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say 2A's. Zero.
Is it
I have
empty
the
like that?
other one. Yeah, I don't have the other one.
Okay. So if you have the 2A101, open that up. If you don't, open this one up. Either one of these sections works for what I want to do here. So I'm going to open up the 2A101. And Andrea, you can open up that one, or if someone else needs to, they can open that one as well. So I'm going to open the 2A101. Because again, very typical, right? Remember we did this call out a while ago? I want to definitely make a call out of one of these flights of stairs over here as well, right? So to do that, we're going to create another call out. Okay, so I'm going to go to view, go to call out. And it doesn't really matter which, let's do this one on level 2. So I'm going to pick a point right here. I'm going to come down to about here. Right? Escape a few times. Select this box here and grab this little grip, and let's drag it on over to here. And hit escape a few times. Anyone not get that? You know what, we should save. We haven't saved in a while. Click save just because I'm a paranoid man. Click save. Okay. Oh no, we should do though. I'm sorry. Let's go back to level 2, call out 1. What's wrong with me? We need to rename this thing. So we should have that tab open still. So let's go to level 2, call out 1. Let's rename this. Scroll down till we find the view name. So instead of level 2, call out 1. Let's call it enlarged, all caps, ENLARGED, stair plan. Enter. I feel better about that now. Now let's jump back to our horizontal section, or whatever section that you had open where we put the call out in, right? And we're going to open the call out. So hit escape a couple times. And let's, let's double click on our bubble. Double click on the bubble. Excellent. Now let's make this 1/2 inch equals a foot. Let's change our detail level to fine. Now look at all the dimensioning we can do here. Woo! Okay. So one thing we can do definitely is dimension this stringer, right? Is anyone not with me? Is anyone behind? Excellent. So on the annotate tab, let's click on aligned again. And let's pick a point right along the stringer here, and right along the stringer here. And there we go, 1 foot. And that one would go, maybe, let's say, I don't like that dimension. I'd rather it came straight off of it like that. Why wouldn't I do it? Don't like that one. Let's see. I want to get an angular dimension, but I'd rather get it. Why it's going that way. I don't know what happens if I hate doing that. Yeah, I'd rather do that. Although, why wouldn't it just? That's just being a bastard. Okay. So sometimes you gotta. I really want to get that angular dimension on this. So sometimes you gotta cheat it a little bit. So let's go to the architecture tab. Now I just want to pop a little reference plane in there. Okay. You hate doing it, but sometimes you have to. So go to reference plane. I'm just going to draw this reference plane from the endpoint here. I'm going to draw it straight out to about here. It doesn't really matter how far. And we'll hit escape a few times. Okay. Now we'll go back to the annotate tab. And we'll click the angular dimension. So click angular. We're going to go to this one first, then to this one second. And we're going to move our dimension out in this direction like this. Hit escape a couple times. That is pretty precise, but again, you know, to Jacob's question, it's you want to be that precise. They'll probably round that up to 32 degrees, but hey, that's up to the person manufacturing it. You gave them the precise dimension. If they feel as though they need less precision, well, that's just fine and dandy. Okay, let's put a dimension between these two. That's always a good dimension. So let's click aligned. Let's go from the outside of here to the outside of here. 730 seconds. That's a little too precise, but that's okay. Pick that point because that's where it worked out. Right, that's right where it's at the quadrant of that. So I won't torture you with more of these dimensions. Does everyone get it? Does anyone not get it? Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to put an isometric of the entire stairs on a sheet. Because remember in class last week, we were working with that isometric view, but we can put that on a sheet too. So if we hover over the stairs here, notice that you're going to see a large dotted line that kind of boxes in the stairs. Once you see that, once you hover over like your stringer here, you'll see that dotted line. Go ahead and select it. Now what I want to do is I want to click on the 3D, default 3D button. Oh, I'm sorry, don't click that. Oh my Lord. Click on this button right here, selection box. I need you to click on that button. So we're going to select this, it highlights that outline, and we click on this selection box right here. And it takes a second. There it is. Now let's turn our shadows off because that's just kind of silly to have them turned on there. So where it says shadows on down here, click this icon and it's going to shut your shadows off. It's going to clean up your view and boy, it's going to make it a lot faster too. All right. Now I want to see all the way up to the roof. Is anyone not with me? Excellent. So we're going to select this box right here, this outline. We're going to pick this. And you remember from last week, we get these little stretch grips. And we can widen it, we can heighten it. So I want to heighten it. So we're going to grab that grip and we're going to drag it up so we can see the roof. And then maybe pull it back in a little bit so we can see our railing. I'll give you a second to do that. But we don't need to widen it. This gives the gist. I'll hit escape a couple times. It's nicely coordinated. Of course, we should have probably fixed our floor here like we did on level 2. That looks a lot cleaner, but we didn't, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. Anyone not get it? Okay, so here's what we need to do. Let's go back to the horizontal. Let's go back to horizontal section callout 1 because we never renamed that one either. So let's go to horizontal section callout 1. In the properties, let's scroll down to view name. And we're going to click into here. And we'll just call it enlarged stair section. No, detail. Call it enlarged stair detail. Then hit enter. Okay. Now go back to your 3D view. Let's change the scale to, let's go to 1/4 inch equals a foot. It'll look better on a sheet, trust me. But one thing that I want to do here is I want to click on this button here, which says crop view, because it looks weird when you drag it onto a sheet. So if you click this view here that says crop view, and then click the button right next to it that says show crop region. And it's weird that we have to do this, but, and you'll see why we have to do this in a second. It gives us this big giant box here, right? So all I want to do is I want to select this box and I want to drag it over so it's pretty close to the view that we've got. And trust me, you'll be doing a lot of this stuff in your professional career. I guarantee it. Hopefully you think fondly of this class as you nudge this crap around. Hit escape a couple of times. Did anyone not get that? Because right now I just had to do a bunch of things that were, I mean, that was seemingly meaningless. But just know that that's there. I don't like seeing the box. It won't print, but it's just to me a little sloppy. So I'm going to come back to this icon here. Now I'm going to click hide crop region. There we go. Now lastly, for the view name, let's call it stair isometric and hit enter. Now let's hit save. Okay. Now that we've done this, no one will ever know it's there unless it's on a drawing sheet, right? So this is where I want to make sure that this is on a sheet. And again, think of your project. You know, think of what would look nice on a sheet. Definitely an isometric like that. Oh man, if you put one of those on a sheet, I will like it a lot. I like it a lot. What I want to do is I want to come down and make a new sheet. So let's scroll down in our project browser till we find Sheets All. Right, Sheets All. We're going to right click on Sheets All and we're going to create a new sheet. New sheet. And luckily we've got this big massive 30 by 42 border, which gives us acres of room. It used to be we'd try to keep the sheet smaller when we printed everything because man, what a waste. I have not been in our plotter room other than to get magic markers and highlighters to actually plot something in 5 years, I don't think. It's all PDFs that we send, you know, or the model. So this is going to be a 30 by 42. We're going to click OK. The bigger the better. Nice. Now, I don't want that name like that. So we're going to select A107 unnamed. If yours is a different name, don't worry. We're going to right click and we're going to go to rename. And I'd like to call this A201. For the name, we'll call it Stair Plans and Details. Hopefully that fits. Plans, not pans, plans and details. Then we'll click OK. Is anyone not with me? Am I getting ahead? Great, 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 great. Now we just need to start dragging items onto our sheet. So I'm going to start with my enlarged stair plan. I'm going to pick this and drag it on. Going to put it right here. But notice that it's kind of, I don't like how it's positioned. So if you hit escape a couple times, you'll see where it's sitting. So I'm just going to select it. And I'm going to move it over just a little bit. I don't care about this because it's not going to print. But I do care about this because that's just sloppy, right? So when we hit escape a few times, now notice that we can just select our view title alone, like independently. We can pick our view title and we can drag this and we can move it into the sheet. Basically, you're coloring in the lines, right? Coloring within the lines. Did anyone not get that? Great, 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 great. Now, where is that section? Here it is, enlarge stair detail. We'll grab this and drag it onto our sheet. I want to put it above it, but notice that if I get into a certain location, notice that it will traject that down because that's part of that building. It physically is going to line it up, and that's a typical drafting technique to do that, right? It used to be you'd have to go through great lengths to get your drawings to line up. You still have to at least know that you should, right? So I want to put this right here like that. Oh, this is going to be a sweet sheet. Okay, and the last one I want to put on there is our fabulous 3D views. So we're going to scroll down till we find 3D views. We'll drill into 3D views. And here's our stair isometric. So we'll grab this. We'll drag it onto our sheet. And I'm just going to I'm going to line up. If the building doesn't line up, it will line up with the actual view title. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick that like that. Hit escape a few times. That's a good sheet. right? Are there any questions or comments? Okay. Trust me, the more of this kind of sheet you put together for people, the better you're going to look and the better understanding someone in the field is going to have. All they got to do is look at that isometric once and be like, oh, okay, I fully understand what this staircase looks like. Okay, now let me look at these details and see how to freaking build it. Okay. And just the isometric with no dimensions does nothing other than it's a picture, right? Okay, you get it. I'm sorry. I'll stop beating that down. You get it. Click save. Okay. Excellent. Are there any questions or comments on what we just did there? I know I keep asking that, but I just don't want to get too far out there because questions, I haven't had a bad one yet. There are bad questions, but you guys haven't never asked for bad questions, so it's been good. So here's what I want to do. I want to do ceilings now, okay? Ceilings can be easy if you're just throwing in a 2x4 acoustical tile ceiling. It's about as easy as you're going to ever do. But I want to do that, of course, but I also want to put in a ceiling with a soffit, like maybe a round soffit or a tray ceiling. That kind of stuff is a little more difficult. I want to do that because that's going to be a lot of what you do, and I find that people don't really know that concept of how Revit likes to do it. So what we're going to do is in the project browser, we're finally going to go down to ceiling plans. I've been having you avoid it for the last 2.5 months. We're going to go to ceiling plans. We'll go to level 1. She's a beaut. It's like having a fresh, clean slate, right? So the thing is with this plan is it's a reflected ceiling plan. So it's basically a mirror image. It's sometimes can be off-putting when they get complicated. We're not going to complicate it. We're going to put a pretty simple ceiling in. But just remember, when you see, it'll say RCP, right? Reflected ceiling plan. It's understood that you're standing in the room and you're looking up, right? That's what it's supposed to be, right? It happens to be that we're looking down, apparently, right? So that's where people get confused. But you'll get it. You'll get it. One thing I want to do is I want to get rid of some of the stuff that I don't really want. Like I don't want these elevation markers. I don't want any of them anywhere. So what we'll do is we'll just turn them all off. I don't want to see any of them. So let's go to visibility graphics. Okay, we've been there a couple times, but what visibility graphics overrides is it's this row right here, right? And you'll see you have visibility graphic overrides and you have an edit button here. So we'll click on that edit button here and we will get our visibility graphic overrides for reflected ceiling plan level 1. Now, again, know that if we turn something off in this view, it's only for reflected ceiling plan level 1. None of our other views are going to be affected by that change, right? So we need to go to annotation categories. Annotation categories. And let's scroll down till we find elevations. Elevations. See elevations, and we're going to uncheck it. I don't want to see them. Just don't care to see them. Check it. Click OK. They're gone. Gives us some room to work in, right? I'm not sure if we saved. Yes, of course. So make sure you're in level 1 ceiling plan. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now in the properties, you'll see visibility graphics overrides right here. Right, and there's a little edit button right next to it here. So go ahead and click that. And I need you to go to annotation categories tab right here. And then we're going to scroll down till we find elevations in the list. And we just simply need to uncheck that. Did you find it?
It doesn't appear for me.
Make sure that show annotations category in this view is checked on.
It is.
Make sure the filter list, make sure everything's
Mine's the
turned
same
on
as
there.
yours.
Are you sure you're on the annotation categories tab?
Ah, that'd be it.
That'll do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And elevations are going to be off. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to pop a ceiling in here. It's pretty freaking simple. Okay. Go to the architecture tab. Now click the ceiling button right here. Now remember, just as we were placing a floor, a wall, a component, we get the same exact choices, right? So what kind of ceiling do we want? We have a compound ceiling, 2x4 acoustical tile system. If we click the drop down, we have two other types, right? We could make wood ceilings. We can make any kind of ceiling we want, and they're constructed exactly like a floor or a roof would be constructed, the same exact thing, okay? So in this case, I want to go with a 2x4 acoustical tile system, and that's the default. Notice that automatic ceiling is checked. So if we come into this area here, we have no other choice but to pop it in. So when you pick that point, there it is. Okay. Let's put one in this room. We can put one in all of them, I guess. Well, put them in all of them except for the last room. Now hit escape. We'll do this one later. We're going to put like a circle in here. We're going to put a soffit in and all that stuff. So did anyone not get those put in? Okay. So one thing we didn't know is what height that ceiling was at. Okay, it defaults at 8 feet. So if we come in and just hit escape or select any one of these lines, we'll get the property of that ceiling, right? And we'll see the level is level 1. The height offset is going to be 8 feet. Okay, and that's pretty much all we need to know right now. But what I want to do is I want to edit this thing. So hit escape a couple times. Let's select one of the lines on the ceiling. And let's click on Edit Boundary. Edit Boundary, right here. Now we can sketch anything we want. We can put a slope arrow in. Remember when we sloped the roof in that one clip? We can do the same with our ceiling, right? So if you have a cloud ceilings or those types of things, you can slope them. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. But what I want to do is I just want to put a nice round hole in it right here. But to do that, I want to lay it out with reference planes. The beauty of this is, though, once we're done with the reference planes and we can dimension it, once we click finish, those disappear until we go back to edit the ceiling again, right? So on our work plane panel, click ref plane right here, reference plane, pick it. Right? Now I just want to draw a reference plane from the midpoint here down to the midpoint here. Beautiful. Now I want to draw one from the midpoint here. It's kind of hard to find, so if you can't find it, just type SM and it will jump to the midpoint, right? So if I move my cursor and type SM, it jumps to the snap mid. All right, we're going to pick that point. Now we're going to pick that point and hit escape a couple times. The reason we have to do that is because reference planes don't have a midpoint on them, which is it's annoying, but that's just the way of it. The way of it, boyo. Anyone not get that? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now we just need to draw a circle, right? We don't have to like cut a hole in it. This, in effect, will cut a hole in it. So click on the circle button right here. And we're going to pick, of course, this intersection. And we'll move our circle out. Let's make it, I don't know, eyeball to 3 feet. Looks about good. So let's go to 3 feet. Then we'll hit escape a few times. And we'll not get that. Let's click finish. What we've done. We now have a nice hole in our ceiling. Let's hit save just because it's a good idea. All right, now I want to add a soffit to the inside of this. Now our soffit, what I wanted to do is I want it to hang down only an inch from the bottom of that ceiling, but I still want the top of it to attach to the deck above it, right? So we'll have to do a couple things to make sure that that works out. But the soffit is, we're going to draw it in as a wall. It's not like a soffit button. Everyone knows what a soffit is, correct? Does anyone not know? Good. Okay, good. So we want to draw a wall with an offset of 7'11", basically, because we know the ceiling's 8 foot. 7'11" is going to give us a nice inch. And it's good to do that when people are installing it, so they don't have to match it exactly. It gives them a little bit of room to have some kind of variant in there. So if we go to wall, right, so on the architecture tab, we'll go to wall. I remember that stall partition. We made it red. That was fun. So let's click the drop down here and let's grab soffit, 1/2 inch gypsum wallboard, and metal stud. Right here.
Sorry, could you repeat the selection of it?
Yep. So we're going to click on wall. And then we're going to click the drop down here. We're just going to click into this area. And the bottom choice before we get the curtain walls will be soffit, 1/2 inch gypsum wallboard, and metal stud. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, now very important. Base constraint is still constrained to level 1. That's still true. But the base offset, now it's going to be 7'11". So type in 7 space 11 and hit enter. Now the top constraint, click into here, click the drop down. Let's go up to level 2. All right, so that's going to go up to level 2. Okay, now we're ready to go. On the draw panel, wait, for the location line, I'm never sure. Let's go finish face exterior. On the draw panel, click on pick lines. Now zoom in on our circle. And if we hover over the inside face of it, it's weird, but it kind of wants to go to the outside. But if you keep moving your cursor up, it'll flip it to the inside. So see that, once you see that little alignment line flip to the inside, pick it once. And let's do the same down here. This one I think is going to be easier. Once you see that alignment line to the inside, we're going to pick that there. Then we're going to hit escape a few times. Anyone not get that? This is great. We're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. Okay, now I want to put a hard ceiling in here. I want to put a gypsum ceiling inside of here. So I do want to mess with the material a little bit on it though. So let's do this. Let's go to ceiling. For the ceiling type, we're going to click the drop down and we will select gypsum wallboard on metal stud. It's a hard ceiling. Any bathroom is going to have this kind of ceiling for privacy. You don't want someone popping tiles on you. Gypsum wallboard on metal stud. Okay. Now let's click edit type. Here. Okay. Now for the structure, let's click edit right here.
Are we not gonna duplicate it first? Or?
Nope, because all we're going to do is mess with the material. That gypsum wallboard is all we're going to do. That's a great question, though, and I'm glad. I like where your head's at. I like it. I accidentally did this today. I didn't duplicate it. Oh, man, I had to go back and do a lot of work. Actually, it's we're doing a net zero study up at Skytop. Oh, I screwed it up so bad. I was so mad at myself. Good call. Don't be lazy. All right, but what we're going to do, I'm just going to modify this material, which is why I didn't duplicate it. So for finish 2, it says gypsum wallboard. I want to just click on this little browse button right here. See, I don't get worried when it says not responding for a second because I know we saved it. Move my thing down here. Now my gypsum wallboard, I just want to put a surface pattern on it is all I want to do. So for gypsum wallboard pattern for foreground, for pattern instead of none, we're going to click here. And I just want to add, let's just, let's put it on, where'd it go? Let's put it on sand. We don't need it to be too messy. I just want to be able to see it and plan. So we'll put it on sand. And we'll click OK. Let's click OK. But it seems odd because it feels like we're looking down on it, right? So it makes sense that if we put sand on this material, we wouldn't see it. But since we're looking up, we should be able to see it. That being said, we should better be able to see it, or I'll look like a liar. So gypsum wallboard, we put sand on it. We're going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. Now notice that it finds that wall, right? But before we put it in, instead of for the height offset at level, I want to type in 7 space 11 and hit enter. Now we're gonna, and if you didn't do that, we can select it and move it up or down. It doesn't matter. So we're gonna pick a spot right here. I'm gonna hit escape a few times. I'm gonna hit save. Did anyone not get that?
I can't see the sand texture in mine.
So it could be that hit escape a few times.
Yeah.
So if you hover over this ceiling, and if you hover over like the inside face of it, you should be able to kind of select it, right? So if you hover over here, you'll see it'll kind of highlight. And if you pause it, it should say ceilings.
Oh, mine doesn't say that. It just highlights like the half circle.
Okay. Maybe we didn't put it in there. So let's go back to ceiling, hit escape a few times.
Yeah.
Hit the ceiling button,
Yeah.
click edit type. Wait, I'm sorry. Make sure the ceiling is gypsum wallboard on metal stud.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Okay. Click edit type.
Yeah.
I'll click the edit button next to structure.
Yes.
Now click into where it says gypsum wallboard right here. And then click on this little button right here.
Yeah, and then I have the sand for the foreground.
Yep. Was it already applied to it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay. Hit OK here. Hit OK here.
Yep.
hit OK here. Now make sure the height offset from level is 7'11". Maybe it was.
Yeah, I put that as well.
So it says 7'11".
Yes.
And when you hovered over this area here, did it highlight? Did it have the big red circle like that?
Yes. It shows the red circle. Oh, I
Okay,
see
now.
now. It shows it now. It shows it now. I think it's
Oh,
because I
yeah.
wasn't highlighting the red. It only does it when I highlight the red circle.
Right. Okay. So you got it?
Yes.
Excellent. Because I want to hang a pendant light fixture from it. So let's hit save. Now, electrical engineers get annoyed when architects do this, but if they had their choice, they would put 2x4 parabolic troughers in everywhere, right? So if you want an ornate lighting fixture, wall sconces, pendants, you need to either find them from the manufacturer or model them yourself and put them in your model, and let the lighting engineer deal with the lumens and the foot candles, right? So you're saying this is the fixture I want, this is the manufacturer I want it from. You deal with getting power to the thing, right? That's the trade-off. They like to put the fixtures in their model. There's always kind of a little bit of a wrestling match between trades. So let's drop a lighting fixture in here. So to do that, let's go to the Systems tab. We haven't been here. Oh, I hate this tab. This is my least favorite tab. I don't like it. I don't like it. So let's go to Systems. Now let's come all the way down here to lighting fixture. Oh, look, and it's got almost the identical one we're going to drop in there. So click lighting fixture. There aren't any. Yeah. Let's load one. Let's click yes. Okay. Is anyone not in the English Imperial directory? I'm worried now that we're not even going to freaking have this. If not, it's not the end of the world, but okay, so English Imperial, let's go to lighting. So far, so good. Let's go to MEP. So far, so good. Let's go to internal. And let's go to, oh, there's so many, there's so nice. Let's dependent light hemisphere. That's the one I like, because I know that that's face-based. So we'll go to pendant light hemisphere. We'll click open. Now it says it's not going to put it in, but notice we have some choices up here for placement. Let's click place on face right here.
I don't have it.
I'll get ours in there and then we'll take a look. So click place on face. Now if we move this into the circle area, you'll see it'll place it on the face, but it's hard to locate the center line. So if you hover your cursor over one of these inside arcs, type SC, notice it'll jump right to the center, and then pick that point and then hit escape a couple times. And again, it obscures the pattern because we're supposedly looking up at it. Now Andrea, let's hit escape a couple times. So click on the lighting fixture button. All right, let's click load family. Now, I'm not sure what directory you're going to be in, so I'm going to go back up to English Imperial. Oh, so some people don't have them. What I'll do is after class, yeah, I'll oh, you know what I can do? Why don't I do this? I'll go to lighting. I'll go to MEP, internal, and then light hemisphere. Go to good old Blackboard. Oh, why did I close it? I'm such a dumb. I'll put it on Blackboard.
I only have structural precast under English Imperial.
All right. Yeah, so some people don't have it. Anyone else not have this? Just a couple of you. All right. So I'm going to jump into Blackboard. Let's do this thing. I'm going to go to intro. I should have thought about this content. I'm going to let you see what I'm doing here. So I went to my content tab. So why don't you jump into Blackboard, go to content, and I'm going to build an item. Oh, come on. There it is. Slow. Pendant. And I'm going to browse for it. I'm going to go quickly. Lighting, MEP, internal, and it was pendant light hemisphere. You put that on the bottom. Here, I'll move it up to the top. So why don't you guys download that, but let's, instead of us waiting for you to do it, let's just jump ahead. So you guys can grab that and maybe throw it in on your own time. But what I'd like to do is kind of move ahead because we're getting kind of, so download that and you'll have it and then you can drop it in there. But what I want to do is let's come down to this end here. Okay, and I want to put like a perimeter hard ceiling in, then the internal ceiling, we're going to have a, actually before we do that, let's create a 3D view here. I think we had one, but I'm sure we didn't label it. So here's what I want to do. So let's go back to this room. Let's go back to this. All right, and now in the project browser, let's go down to floor plan level 1. Not ceiling plan, but floor plan. So we had Cynthia in here. We had all this stuff going on. Okay. Now I want to create an isometric view. I know we did one and it's probably the one that's in here, but we'll make a new one so I can refresh your memory. So let's go ahead and on the 3D view icon, let's click the little drop down right here. Let's go to camera. We're going to go down to camera. Now I'd like to pick a point right in the corner here. We're going to beam it on Cynthia here, but go way past it. The farther you go, the wider the perspective is going to be. So we'll pick a point like right about here. Right. Now, once that's open, we can widen our little box here just by grabbing those grips. Oh, that looks nice. Okay. Now we can set our visual style to realistic. And it takes a second. unless we render it, that light's not going to glow. But again, in the advanced class, we'll look at rendering, and we'll look at using IES files and photovoltaic, or so when we select this light and we click edit type, and we scroll down, photometrics is the word I'm groping for. But we'll look at photometric web files, and all that stuff, because it makes a big difference just in terms of when we render it, how that light's gonna be. But obviously, if Cynthia stood up, she'd probably hit her head on it. This belongs like over a conference table or something like that, right? Does it make sense? And again, once we make these isometrics, we keep adding stuff to it, and it, we don't have to keep doing that like we just did. It just keeps building. Are there any questions or comments on that? Excellent. So let's go back down to level 1 ceiling plan. Ceiling plan, let's go to level 1. And we'll put a ceiling in down here. Okay. So what I want to do is, of course, we're going to go to the architecture tab. We'll go to ceiling. Now this time I want to sketch the ceiling. We're going to click sketch ceiling. We'll click sketch ceiling. Right. On the draw panel, we'll click on pick lines, or pick walls. I'm sorry, pick walls. We'll pick that wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall. What you see, it's not as clean as it was when we put in the auto ceiling, right? Hit escape a couple of times. Now we'll see that we've got some cleanup to do, right? We got to trim those corners out. So on the Modified tab, click this button here, Trim Extend to Corner. Trim Extend to Corner, right here. And we're going to pick the lines that we want to keep. So we're going to pick a point here. And pick a point here. It's going to make a nice square corner. Come down, we'll pick a line here. Pick a line here. Trims it out. The rest is good. But I want to create a 2-foot, basic hard ceiling border. So let's make sure that we have the compound ceiling gypsum wallboard on metal studs selected, and we'll keep the height 711. Now on the draw panel, we're going to click on pick lines. Okay. Offset, that's going to be 2 feet.
Could you sort of start? I don't know if it was just me, but you sort of like disappeared for a second.
Yeah, it happened to me too.
Oh, it did? Did it happen to
I thought it
everyone?
was my computer, but
Uh-oh.
But
So pretty much from the beginning then, right?
oh no, I mean we did the trim lines thing.
after
Oh,
the
okay.
trim, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Wow. I guess I kind
Yeah,
of.
it was just like 2 seconds, but
Oh,
anything you
okay.
did after that was
Happening. Okay. We can see the screen now, right? You can see me moving it around and
Yep,
everything.
it's all good now.
Okay, good. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to create a 2-foot basic. It's going to be a hard ceiling that is on the perimeter of this room here. So on the draw panel, let's click on the pick lines button. For the offset, I want to go with a 2-foot offset. So type in 2 here for offset. Now, what we're going to do is if we hover over one of these lines, if I hover over this line, make sure that alignment line is going to the inside face. Hit your tab key once, then hit your tab key again. Notice that it's going to select all of them, and then we're going to pick it. Then we're going to hit escape. Did anyone not get that? That's kind of quirky how that works. I can do it again if we need. Excellent.
Actually, can you do it again? I'm so sorry.
Don't be. It's a weird little process. So on the draw panel, we're going to click on the pick lines button right here. Right here. Now for the offset, I want to type in 2 feet and then hit enter. We have a 2-foot offset. Okay, what we're going to do now, if you hover over this line here, notice that it's going to create one offset that's 2 feet in, which is helpful, but it's better if we can get them all at once. So if you hover your cursor right over the top of that line, don't pick it, right? You see my hands are not on it. So we'll hit the tab key once, then hit the tab key one more time, and it's going to select them all. So once it does that, we can pick that line and it should drop it in. Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. Thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. So now we can click finish. Okay, I'll do it another time. Or we can just do it manually too. So if it didn't work, so what we're going to do is on the draw panel, we'll click on pick lines. Okay, for the offset, we're going to go 2 feet. Like that, right? Now, hover your cursor over this one line and it should create a temporary line to the inside. Did that do that? Did it do it? Okay. Now, once you see that, hit tab once and then hit it again. Oh, I see probably what's happening. So push down the pan button to pan around like this. Do that. Pan around a little bit. I think I see what happened to you. Now let's do it again. Come over to this line here. It should offset it to the right, kind of. You get that temporary line. Hit your tab key once, and hit your tab key again, and hopefully that'll work. Once you see that line go all the way around it, we're going to pick it. Did that work? Excellent, excellent. So hit escape a couple times. Now we're just going to simply click on finish edit mode. Now we have a ceiling in there that's just basically around the perimeter, right? Now I want to put another ceiling in here, but I want to put it like higher, like at 9 feet, and then we'll draw a soffit in. Okay. So let's do this. On the architecture tab, let's go to ceiling. Okay. Now we need to sketch the ceiling again. On the draw panel, we need to click on pick lines. Now there's no offset. Now if I hover over this wall, we can just pick them individually. So I'll pick this one, this one, this one, and then this one. Oh, people are dropping out. I see some connections are getting bad, and all of a sudden the person drops out. Okay, now that we have that, I just want to change the ceiling type. So we'll click the drop down here. Let's go to the 2x2 acoustical tile system. So we'll go 2x2. And for the height offset from level, let's go, I don't know, let's go 9 feet. Now let's click finish. That laid out pretty nicely. Hit escape a couple times. But the problem is there's going to be a big gap here, right? There'll be a gap because this is at 711, this is at 9 feet. So on the architecture tab, let's go to wall. It's the soffit ½ inch. So the base offset's 711. Top constraints up to level 2. So what we're going to do is on the draw panel, click on pick lines. And we're going to make sure that we go to the outside face, just like we did before. So if you zoom in, make sure that's going to the outside. Pick that. Yeah. Pick that one. Pick that one. And then pick that one. Now hit escape a couple times. This one will cut a section through it to see it instead of an isometric. Okay. So to do that, we're going to click on the section button right here. So click on section. We'll pick a point like right about here. We'll come all the way over. We'll pick a point like right about here. Now I know that we're going to have to attach the top and the bottom of this wall to the ceiling and to the floor. Everyone get the section put in? Great. Now hit escape a few times. Let's double click on the section and open it up. Now if we zoom into here, right, we can join these objects together. So for this section, let's change the scale. Let's make it, instead of 1/8 of an inch equals a foot, we'll make it 1/2 inch equals a foot. Now if we zoom into here, that doesn't look very clean. But what we'll do, let's go to the Modify tab. Let's click on the Join button. Right here, Join. Click on your wall right here. Click on your ceiling here. It's going to make it look like it's like an alcove. Do the same down here. You're going to click on the wall. Then you click on the ceiling. And it works. And do the same for the floor too. We're going to click on the floor. Click on the soffit wall. Now click on the floor. Click on the soffit. Hit escape a couple times. And then you get a nice detail there. Did anyone not get that? You can change your detail level to fine, something we probably should have done too. So detail level should be set for fine. There we go. And of course, we can go back down to level 1, floor plan. Zoom into here. Click the default view drop down. Let's go to camera. We can take a isometric. So we'll click a point here, straight down to here. Right? Click on realistic. Got our ceiling, we got our wall. Okay. That's kind of how you take care of that whole thing. Any questions? Excellent. So I think I did a little more than I usually do with ceilings, just to make sure you've got it. So ceiling, so if you want to put ceilings in on your project, that's fine. Again, if you have a residential house that doesn't have drop ceilings in it, I'm not gonna actually mandate it for your finished model. But they're good to have in, and I just want you to know how to do it. If it's a year from now before you're actually doing a internship or get a job and you forgot everything about this, at least you know that ceilings go in like this. So I'm going to leave it at that for the night. Are there any questions or anything? We've dwindled down to 6 folks, but it's all good. It's all good. It's recorded, and I'll let you go home now. If there's no other questions, I see someone's joining. They might be a little late. Okay, because I see people have people kind of we're getting. Catherine, I see you have a pretty rough connection here, but we're pretty much done for the night. This is how you put ceilings in. Like I was saying, I think you might have missed it. If on your project, if you don't have ceilings like this, you don't have to put them in your model. I won't be looking for ceilings. I just wanted to make sure you know how to do it. So if nothing else, I'll let you go home now. So good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.